Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's session we will discuss on RDLC reports. So this is the example we are going to discuss today. So this is the employee details I am taking from my SQL Server database, and I have one master called employee master. From there I am fetching and I am binding into RDLC report. So first we will see the quick demo. So this is my employee details. Whenever you open your report page, so these details will be loaded into your RDLC report. If you want to save this data, if you can export into Excel, so this will be opened in Excel. Suppose if you want in PDF, you can export to PDF also. So it's opening in two pages. If you want in Word, you can export to Word. So it will be opened in Word. So this is very important topic in ASP.NET and C#. So this will be very useful for all your reports. Okay. Now we'll see how to implement these steps. Okay. So for this example, I used these technologies. One is Microsoft Visual Studio I used for ASP.NET and C#, and one more I used Microsoft SQL Server. So these are all the implementation steps we have to implement in this project to get the data from RDLC report. First, what we have to do is we have to create a new web project, and then we have to create a web form. So then we have to create a stored procedure to get the data from the SQL Server table. So then we have to design one RDLC report, and we have to create a connection string in web.config. We are going to read data from the SQL Server, and we will store the connection string in web.config. From there we will try to communicate to your SQL Server. Okay. Then finally I'm creating one class file to store all our business logic, and I'll write the all the logics in the class file. So finally we will call the get data function on page load. Whenever page loads, that time we will call the this data binding function. Okay. So we'll see in Visual Studio now. So first what we have to do is we have to create a web project. So this is my Visual Studio. I'm going to create a new project. File, new, click on project. So I am selecting Visual C#, under that web, then select Visual Studio 2012. I'm selecting ASP.NET MD Web Application, and I am using .NET Framework 4 for this. Okay. So I am giving my project name as RDLC. So I am storing in my local drive. And solution name also I am giving as RDLC. Click on OK. So our project is creating here. So go to Solution Explorer. Our project has been created. Now next step what we have to do is we have to create a web form. So right click on your project, click on Add, click New Item, and we want one web form. So I am naming it as RDLC. I'll give employee details with RDLC. Okay. Click on Add. So our web form has been created. So whenever you are working with the RDLC reports, we have to import one namespace called RDLC report web forms. Right click on the first, you have to add the reference. Right click on the references, add references. So I'm going for recent. Already I have Microsoft report viewer.web forms. You have to add this reference. So now reference has been added. Now we need to register here. So you have to register your report viewer web forms here. This is the token number of report viewer, and this is the version. 10 is the version. For this, whenever you are using report viewer, you have to add one script manager. Yes. Script manager I'm giving as SM1, so not server. Okay, otherwise it won't run. Then I have to design one table. I am calling here Asp table. ID I'm giving as table employee details. Not server. Horizontally I am setting as center. I need in center. Okay. Then I need one header row for label, and I want a cell also, and I want to set some styles here. font I need in bold. For color I'm setting as blue here, and horizontally I want to set center here. Font I'm setting as extra large for heading, and I'm giving heading here. Title is employee details, so same title you can give it for your page title also. This is my table title, so this is my page title. Okay, now we have to add one report viewer. For that, what we have to do is we will create one table cell. More table row required here. I'm adding one table cell. In this I'm calling report viewer. ID I'm giving as RV report. Employee report I'm giving, not server. And font names I'm setting on some styles I wanted in Verdana, and font size I'm setting as, I'll set it as medium, and width I'm setting as 100% I need. Then height I'm setting as 50%. Here I want local report path you have to provide here. Okay, so report path I will give it as employee details dot RDLC. We have to create this report. Okay, so now we have created report viewer here. Whatever report we are generating, it will be displayed on report viewer. So we are going to create one report called employee details with RDLC, so that that report will be attached to this viewer. We can view the data. Okay, next step what we have to do is we have to create a stored procedure to get the data. Okay, I'm going to my SQL Server. I'm using my SQL Server 2012 for this example, and I'm using Windows authentication. If required, you can use the SQL Server authentication. For that, you have to provide login and password. Okay, at present I'm using Windows authentication. Click on connect. So I have database called demo here, and I have one table, and in that I have one table called employee master. In that some records are available, so these records we are going to display in our RDLC report. For that I need one stored procedure to get the data. So click on new query. We will write a stored procedure here. Create procedure. It's user dependent stored procedure, and that's why I'm giving as USP. Get employee details as begin and end. So we need a data from the table called employee master. I need all the tables. So that's it. This is my stored procedure. It's a direct statement. I need all the data from the employee master table. Okay, so click on execute. My stored procedure has been created. Expand. So this is our stored procedure. Deleting this old one. So our stored procedure, if you execute this one, try to execute. So all the data we are getting from the employee master. Next step is we have to create a RDLC report in Visual Studio. So open Visual Studio again. So right click on the project, add new item. Now you have to select reporting. Click on reporting. So we are getting report. This is, you have to create manually columns. This is report wizard where you can select the columns. Okay, I'm going with the report wizard. So already we gave name here as employee details. That's why I'm giving employee details. Okay, click on add. So now it is asking for the connection string. So we have to create a connection string. Click on new connection. We are going to use local. We are not going to use any server authentication. So use Windows authentication I'm using. So now we have to select the database here. Click on demo test connection. So test connection succeeded. So it's working fine now. Click on OK. So this is our connection string. Click on next. So I am giving us my connection string. Click on next. So now you have to select all store procedure here. So this is our store procedure. Select your store procedure. You can expand and see all the columns. I don't want any master ID. So click on finish. So now it is displaying all our columns, table columns. Click on next. So now you have to add all the columns. I'm dragging and dropping. So I don't want any sum here. And age also, wherever integer is there, that places it will show as sum. If you want to use any sum function here, you can use it. And salary also it's asking. I don't want to show any sum here. Okay, click on next. So it is showing as we expected. Employee code, name, gender, age, designation, salary, state and country. Click on next. And if you want to change your color style, you can change it. Click on finish. So now you can adjust your columns. So I'm adjusting my columns. I need employee code some space here. All headers I want to display in center, and employee name I need some space here. Okay, gender okay. Yes, I want to display in center. Gender also I want to display in center. Designation also I need some extra space here. Salary I want to display in right align. State also left. I want to give some space. Country I want to display in center. Okay. Whatever you want, you can adjust here. Now save. So this is our report template. Now next what we have to do is we have to create a connection string in web.config. Already this report has been created the connection string for us. Just open web.config and see the connection string. So our connection string available here. This is our database name. We are using Windows authentication. Okay. Now next step is in web.config we have to add the handler, report viewer handler here. Okay. This is the report viewer handler. To read the data we are using the integrated mode, and this is the report viewer control we are going to use, and we are using the version and what is the public token key. So all the license details we are adding here. Okay. So then next what we have to do is we have to create a class file for all our business logics. Okay, I'm going to create one class on our project. I click on the project, add, click on class. So I'm going to store all business logic. That's why I'm giving as BLA, and employee details I'm giving as class name. Okay. So now what we have to do is we have to call our store procedure here. First what we have to do is we have to initialize our connection string. For that I'm creating a function, static function here. It will return the connection string. So I'm creating one local variable, connection string. Initially it will be empty. Then I'm calling, I need some namespaces here. System.configuration I need, and I need system.data.SQL client. Now we will get the configuration.connection strings config. Now we will get the configuration manager here. Dot connection strings. So we have to provide the connection string name here. This is our connection string name, dot connection string, and finally you have to return the connection string. Okay. Now we have to write a function to get the data from the employee master. Okay. For that, I'll get the data table here. We need one more namespace called system.data to get the data table. So this is the function I'm going. So this is the function where we will get the data from the SQL database. So first we have to create one SQL connection here. I'm creating object as connection. Then I need SQL command to create one command. I'm creating object here, and I need a data adapter. Finally, we will create one local variable data table, GIT employee, to store our data table. Now we have to establish a connection equal to SQL connection. So we have to call the connection string now. So this connection string we are calling here. So we have to use new keyword here. So now we will assign the command here. Command is connection dot create command. We are creating a command here. Then we need command type. What type of command type we are going to pass? We are going to pass stored procedure here. Then we have to pass the command text. So here we have to pass our stored procedure name. Open the SQL Server. This is my stored procedure name. So I am pasting here. So if there is any spelling error, means it will not work. Okay. Then I have to send the value to my adapter. So pass the command here. Then it will return the data table. So fill with the data table. So finally we have to return the data table. So that's it. Our function is ready to get the data from data. So final step what we have to do is we have to call our function. So to get the data we have to call the function on page load. Okay. So open your C#. Here what we have to do is we have to initialize our business logic. For that I am creating one object. So I want to load on page load. Okay. If it is not post back, then I have to load the data here. Okay. For that I'm creating one function here, like get employee details. So I'm going to get the details here, and when our page loads I'll call this function so that it will bind to our report viewer. So here we have to call our data table the employees. I'm creating one object here and declaring one variable. So I'll get the employee details from my business logics get employee details. Now we will get the data. Suppose if I found any data from the database, I'm checking here. If it is greater than 0, I have to bind the data. So we have to call our report here, local report dot report path we have to pass. So we have to give our report name here. My report name I will get it from here. Click on rename and copy this. So this is my report name. Then we have to clear all the items from local report data sources. We have to clear previous one if anything is there. Then we have to pass the data sources dot add new report data source. So we will get it from RDLC report. Click on this one. So expand the data sets, right click on this one. So this is our data source name. Just paste here and we have to assign the data table here. GIT employees. Okay, that's it. Now it is finally what we have to do is we have to refresh the data. Suppose if there is no records, means we have to display message data not found. Okay, I want to show this message. Now build the application. So there is no error. Run the application now. So we are able to see the data. We are fetching from database and we are binding to report RDLC report and we are binding the same to our report viewer. Suppose if I want to save the data, here export option is there. Click on Excel. You can export to Excel. So your report is exported to Excel. Suppose I want to open in Word document. So you can export to Word also. See, it's working fine. So that's it. So it's working what we expected. So finally we will see the implementation steps once again. What we did is first we have created one web project. So in that we have added one new web form for our RDLC report. Then we have created one stored procedure. We had already one table called employee master. From there we want to get the data. For that we created one stored procedure and we executed that to get the data. So finally we created one RDLC report and created one connection string to read the data from database. Finally we created one more class file to store all our business logics and we called our function from that. So finally we called get data function from page load. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching my video.